I have to first welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Virtually and in reality. You're in New York right now.
Yes, I'm in Brooklyn.
I was born in Brooklyn, you know.
Oh, were you? Which part?
Canarsie.
Okay, I'm not too close to Canarsie, but you know, same island.
Brooklyn's a big place, believe me. And the pizzas are amazing in Brooklyn. So let's shout out to my uncle who still has a pizzeria, Toscano's Pizza, out there somewhere.
Oh, I'll have to order.
And I'll pick up the tab as long as you order anchovies like a real pizza should have. We're beef.
Anchovies. Wow, I don't think I've ever done that before.
Don't put pineapple on pizza. Don't. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll try out anchovies in your honor.
Just try out one and see.
Okay.
You don't have to get a whole pound of them. Congratulations on Vanilla. What an amazingly fun, kind of awkward little romantic road trip, a buddy picture.
Yeah. Sort of unromantic, romantic comedy.
And your character is like every girl I've ever fell in love with. She's free, and yet when you accept that freedom in another person, along goes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of mental anguish.
Yeah, sure. I could see that for Kimmy, bringing some anguish up in people.
So tell me a little bit about how the project found you, or how you found the project.
Let me think. We started it so long ago. Will Dennis and I, the director of the film, we had worked on some short sketches together, and one day we were hanging out and he just said, I think that we should do a road trip movie and just get in the car for a couple weeks and shoot something, and we'll improvise a bunch of it. And I thought that sounded really fun. I like improvising. So I went to go direct a music video in Los Angeles, and I got back and he had a full script, and he said, I think that, I really fleshed it out. And so, so then there was a script on top of all this improvising, and then we just decided to get in the car and do it like 3 weeks later, I want to say. So it was all pretty impulsive.
Is he a good director? I mean, being a comic and being an actor, I mean, does that make him more empathetic to the actor's plight in a movie?
So I think that it was like sort of a colossal challenge that none of us expected, because it was such a small movie. But for him, he was not only starring in it and directing, but he was also the main producer. All of us were producers in some regard, but he had so much on his plate that it was like he was always wearing 3 hats at one time. So it was a huge challenge for him. I think that I'm sure he grew a lot from. But yeah, it was definitely like a very tough thing. Respect to him.
I talked with Will earlier, and I told him this. I said there are 3 characters in this movie. There's you, there's Kimmy, and then there's the van. which I think is kind of a euphemism for the state we all have to force ourselves into. It's a kind of a it's an enclosed kind of situation. You can't run away from your feelings in this little space.
Yeah, and we also couldn't run away from each other in that little space. The 5 of us who were making the movie were truly taking that road trip from New York to New Orleans, and we were just in the car shooting all day. And like the DP was literally sharing the same seat as me with like the camera in my face. So it was art and life.
I know that the hardest things, because I've been around for a long time, and some of my dearest friends are directors, and Bruce Campbell one time told me that the hardest thing he's ever done is filmed in a car. It just is so claustrophobic.
yeah. It became really funny after a while. After we all sort of lost our minds a little bit from being so on top of each other, I think that it became pretty hilarious. So we got used to it. We definitely got used to it. I feel affection for the band, but yeah, it was. I think our DP probably felt differently. I think it was the hardest for him because he was having to hold up a camera at the same time as being crouched into a little space. So.
What do you think audiences are going to find in the film when they watch it?
What our audience is going to find in the film? I hope that they find sort of a non-traditional romantic comedy that doesn't leave everybody in their traditional roles of man and woman, and doesn't leave the story in the traditional emotion that you expect to find from a romantic comedy. So I hope that people are surprised.
I think they will be. And your next project, are you working on that right now? Do you have anything in the hopper?
Yeah, so I am writing a cartoon right now. Very different from acting, but yeah, that's my passion project that I've been working on for a while now, and will probably be working on for a while longer before it is a public thing, because animation is slow.
Are you a fan of animation?
Very much so, yeah. Huge fan.
My aunt was June Foray, the voice of Rocky the Flying Squirrel and Granny, and all those. She's won 2 Academy Awards for working on different films.
That is so amazing.
I grew up in animation, and knowing all those people back in the day.
That is very, very cool. I'm very envious of that.
Well, I'm very envious that you get to, you're young and you're going after a part of this business that a lot of people don't think about. I mean, there are animated films, obviously, but they're done by big studios. You doing an independent animated film is a brilliant idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm lucky that my co-creator of it is an amazing animator who I'm very lucky to work with. If you want to make animation, it's very nice to have talented animators in your life.
Kelsea, thank you so much for being part of our show and our podcast as well. We're both on the air and on the ear, I guess, is a way of putting it. But thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. This was very fun.